a better employee, a better whatever. So honest to God, like if anybody's ever like, hey Jean Marie, like do this differently, I'll be like, okay, great, we'll do. And I don't, like it's not, you're not being mean to me.
Yeah, never
You're
be
just telling
combative
me.
about it, and always
Yeah.
like, I have one of my really good friends, he doesn't know this about himself, and I've tried to tell him, but he is really combative about receiving criticism, constructive criticism, and if you're that type of person where you can't take any type of criticism, can't even say it, it's not gonna, help you in your career at all, but, so like if, you can tell him that, but he'll start combating that. So if you feel like you're one of those type of people, just kind of take a step back and reflect and see, oh, am I that person who always has a comeback to everything that's said to me? And if you are, just try to curb that. And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but if it's affecting, your job. I was gonna say something else, I forgot.
The other thing is the people who are usually giving you constructive criticism are more experienced than you, are wiser than you, are older than you, so they know what they're talking about. So, and I've done it before where I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna work because your thinking is wrong and mine is better. But I can't do that because I haven't been in this position that long and I haven't been doing this that long. So.
And you want to ask for it too. So you definitely want to be one of those people who like, hey, how am I doing? Because sometimes you have bosses that literally won't tell you anything on your performance unless you come and ask. But you don't want to ask too much because then you're kind of thirsty, and you don't want to be like someone who's always asking, oh, how am I doing? If you do that every day, it's not going to be a good relationship. But yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like in your reviews, if you get a review and you get a lower score than you were expecting on a certain category, then like halfway through the year, go in and be like, hey, I was just wanting to know, on my review I got this, wanting to know how I have been doing and what I need to still improve on, or if I have improved. And that will show, one, that you're professional enough to know that you screwed up in something. Two, that you're okay enough going to them and saying, hey, how can I fix this? Have I fixed this? And so it just shows a lot of maturity.
Yeah, ask what you can improve in, go do that, improve in it. You can suck in everything else, but if you show on like a report card that you've improved in this area, that's get an A plus.
Kind of bouncing off of the question about working with old people.
Yeah.
What I know, 'cause most of us when we were younger, obviously, and some people who've been working in the same industry for 30 years and might be switching from, might have decided, I've worked in this for 30 years, let me go do something else, and you all two are going for the same position. How could you give us advice over, fighting for it a little harder, trying to, get for them to choose us over a person that might have a little more experience?
Is anyone older than 30 in here? That's probably a terrible question. I shouldn't ask that. But okay, so you already have the advantage because you're young.
Mm-hmm.
So, unless it's a director level job or something like that, you're 9 times out of 10 going to have the advantage. But just go, be professional about it and realize that, this person may have 30 years more of experience than you do, but is it relative to the job that you're applying for?
That's the other, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So, you're getting a degree in hospitality. That person, even though a lot of people don't use their degrees for what they're doing right now, the fact that you have a degree in hospitality is huge. So when I was up in sales, they hated me because I was young and fresh out of a degree in hospitality. So I knew everything that they were doing, and I knew that a lot of it was wrong. And so they hated me because I was like questioning things because I had just studied it, or I had just talked about it, or it was something else that a professor had told me or whatever. And so you have the advantage, and so use it, but don't be like cocky about it. Just be confident about it.
Yeah, and if you're also in a position where you're over people that are older than you, that can be weird at first if that's your first time, but just be professional and hear them out. Usually they'll want to come to you and maybe give you some wisdom. Don't let that happen like in a team setting, but, you know, you can always take advice from people who have experience in all of that.
I think another thing with that, like if you're in charge of something, don't think that you're just in charge of that and you can't do anything else. So when I was in sales and a supervisor, it was not above me to go and clean a room because our housekeeper was out that night or whatever it was. When I was supervisor, I was manager on duty pretty much every single night, which meant that from about 3:30, sometimes 4 o'clock, until 11 or later, a lot of times later, I was the only manager there. Restaurant manager had gone, chef is kind of around, all of the other directors had left, I was it. So if something needs to happen, then yeah, I'm there. Am I in charge? Yeah, but that means that I'm in charge of the whole place, and so I've gotta work too. So that nothing's ever above you, no matter what position you have, I think.
Oh, so how difficult is it to like get a job at a hotel? Is it?
Especially, is this your first semester in the hospitality industry, or the Kimmons Wilson School?
This is my second semester, but first semester in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, just for one, put that you're in the hospitality school.
Well, Quentin, what's the question, please?
How hard is it to get into a hotel job or a hospitality job? It's not pretty hard. I mean, it's not very hard at all. And a lot of times,
It's gonna be super easy downtown, cause we've got a bunch of
yeah,
restaurants popping up.
lots of jobs coming up. And you know, just so the biggest thing I learned in my transition from college to my career, how to tailor your resume and use whatever experience you have to make it sound great to the job, you know, whatever they're looking for. So it's really important to look at the job requirements and what they want and what they need for whatever job you have, and then put those same buzzwords in your resume. And there's Hilton has some classes, but I was gonna say the University of Memphis has some workshop that you can go to help build your resume.
Marta Lopez Floor is your girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Please tell her that I sent you. If you have not met her, you need to go and meet her. She is wonderful and she will help you, and she's helped me. I'm not even looking for a job and she helps me. She's like, Marie, let's work on this, let's work on this. So, yeah. The other thing is if you're looking at like extracurriculars and stuff for resume builders,
Tell them that.
yeah, like, do resume builders, but also do it so that when you go in and somebody asks you about it, don't just be like, oh, well, it was a great time and I had so much fun and learned a lot. What did you learn from it? Like, tell me your experience through it, not just so that you can put it on.
How
a
is
piece
it
of paper.
relevant to the job you're
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're in a hospitality business, so it's a business full of friends and connections. So whatever job you're applying for, I'm sure teachers, like, I think I got a job at the Peabody because of one of Dr. Jackson. Does anybody know?
Oh, I missed Dr.
Yeah.
Johnson.
He
was great.
Yeah. So, I mean, make use of Mr. Rowan and your other teachers here and other connections you have. Like, I don't know, you may have a buddy that's in another class that works in the hotel you're trying to work at. Put him as a reference.
Well, the good news is Doug Brown was in 2 weeks ago and promised everybody a job.
There you go. Yeah.
He did call me.
Very good.
So.
Ever did?
I
Huh?
don't recall.
Hey, just keep,
Same.
yeah.
I was in your position as well, and then I started working at the Westin and loved it. No offense to the people.
Yeah, no, Peabody's, got its.
I'm salty.
got its perks.
Sorry.
No, but did I answer your question? Is that,
Yeah.
okay.
I agree with Quentin though, like I would not be where I am now if it weren't for Peggy Callahan. She literally called me on a Friday, or Thursday I guess it was, and said, hey, you need to go, no, it was Friday. She called me on a Friday and she said, hey, you need to call Mary Schmitz, she works for the CVB, she needs help. I told her about you, give her a call, there you go. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not really sure what this is, but sure. I called her, we had a 5-minute conversation. She said, can you be here on Monday at 8:30? And I was like, sure. And then started where I am now. So I interned for her, and then I went to the Westin, and then called her again, and now I'm full-time. So it's who you know, really and truly. network.
a lot.
It sounds lame, but network.
Yeah. Not just your teachers, talk to your classmates.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know who
Talk to us.
could. I've hired, I'm not hired, but I've gotten 2 of my friends hired that were in my Kimmons Wilson school. So,
Talk to us too, cause we know some people, and we're closer to your age. We're not as scared.
take advantage of being a student for one.
Yes.
That's I was going to say that earlier. So take advantage of being a student, and so if you're at a job like I was at the Peabody, and I was at the front desk, and I said, hey, I want to just shadow banquets just to see what it is. In a normal situation, they're going to laugh at you, and you know why, unless you're going to swap to banquets. Most places are not going to have the time or the patience for that. But if you're a student and you say, hey, I'm a student, was this before I graduate, I want to learn and I want to see what areas I want to go to, they're going to be a lot more likely to grant you time to shadow, or you can ask for stuff that would otherwise sound weird when you're a student. Just say, hey, I'm a student. So, if that makes sense. I thought somebody back there had a question. You jumped. No, okay.
What else do we have for these nice folks? Any other questions? Things you should do now, between now and then? What you should do afterwards, what you should do this coming summer?